Welcome back to RunThrough TV. It's Ben Sheppard here. Okay, what you're about to see is a full conversation with myself and Jimmy Watkins. Jimmy was an elite runner, and then he decided, you know what, I'm going to be a rock star. So he did that as well, and now has come back and become a big part of the running community once again. I really loved this chat with Jimmy, and I hope you enjoy it too here on RunThrough TV.
Who am I? I feel like I change on a daily basis, but today I'm Jimmy Watkins, 39 years old. I used to be a professional athlete. Then I kind of gave it up when I was 25 to play guitar in a band. I drank and partied a lot. And in 2019, I decided to start running again. And I got healthy. And now I run a thing called Running Punks, and I combine running and music. That's it in a nutshell.
Talking about then, like, let's go back to the start. So like the life as a professional athlete and leading through that journey. As a kid, were you always like a sporty kid? Were you always a runner? How was the progression to becoming a professional athlete?
I was a very shy kid. And I remember going on a caravan holiday to France and crying because I didn't want to play with other kids. And my dad kind of taking me aside in the caravan and saying, like, when we get back, you're going to do sport because you need to start hanging out with other people. So I went back, and growing up in the valleys, first thing I did was like rugby. So I played rugby and football, and it was always team sports. And then when I was about 16, 17, I started running a bit just because, like, to help the fitness of being a rugby player or a footballer. I started running, and I was just like, this is better than the team sports. I love this. So I was kind of like forced into doing sport as a way to just, I don't know, like stop being such a shy kid. And then I ended up just falling in love with running. I wasn't like amazing at the start. I didn't win school sports and stuff. It was kind of when I left school that I started getting good at it. And I don't really know how it happened, but I don't know, kind of just, I think I just enjoyed it more. I just had more time to do it. And I don't know, I was always kind of dedicated.
How did you find your distance then? Like after that, and when you were into it, how did you find what you were going to go and then specialize in?
Yeah, I started off as a sprinter because of the rugby and football background. I started off as a 100 meter and 200 meter sprinter. And I was okay. I was all right. You know, I ran 10.9 for 100 and 6.9 for 60 and 21.7 for 200. So I was pretty sharp. And I was a 47-second 400 meter runner. And then someone said to me when I was in school, my PE teacher in school always said, you're an 800 meter runner because it's the easiest to train for, but the hardest to race. And that kind of thing suits you. I can see that on race day, you really get in the zone and you prepare to push yourself. So ever since he said that, I was always in the back of my mind that I should try 800 because I like that combo of training being okay and racing being hard. That suited me.
What were the career highlights then in your 800 meter career? What were the things that stand out to you?
I mean, the obvious one would be getting to the final of the World Championships in 2006. That's like the one. If I'm in a pub and I'm talking to a stranger, that's the one I bring up. So I might.
Oh, by the way,
I'll find any tenuous link. This song on a jukebox, and I'll be like, oh yeah, this reminds me of the time I. That's like the obvious one because I might get free peanuts out of it, or I might get, like, I don't know, it might impress people. But deep down, my highlight was a race in Lithuania in a place called Kaunas. And it was one of those races where everything was perfect. Like it felt effortless. I didn't like look at the clock, on the track, you have clocks at 200 meters and 400 meters. I didn't look at it. I just ran my own thing. And I front ran it and won it by some distance. And that is like my favorite because that was everything I loved about running. I loved the competitive side, don't get me wrong. And I loved going to championships, but more than anything, I loved that bit where, without sounding too wild, when you and running just become the same thing and it becomes effortless. And I think I particularly love that now because I'm older and slower. I'm not going to win races anymore, but I can chase those moments of like just total bliss when you're running.
Yeah, and it's weird, isn't it? Because even like taking it back to like a day-to-day run, like when you're a day-to-day runner, you have those days sometimes where everything just lines up and you don't know what it is or why it happens, but for some reason on that day doing that distance you just feel class. I don't like why. I don't know. I don't.
It's so bizarre. And do you know what? It happened last night. I went for a run at 11 o'clock last night because I'd been so busy all day. I couldn't find my trainers, so I put a pair of Air Force Ones on.
Yeah.
Right? And I didn't have kit on, I had joggers on and like a real old t-shirt, and I was like, I'll just do a mile. I'll just do a mile. And I just kept on running. It felt amazing. And I was waking up all of South Wales because I was so heavy in my Air Force One. I just felt amazing. And you just think, all the kit I've got, £150 pair of trainers, I've just chucked a pair of old Air Force Ones on.
Mate, you want to get on to everybody at the Commonwealths now. Athletics has started as we're recording this. Hey, get rid of the spikes. Smash on some Air Force Ones. Air Force Ones with nails through the bottom of them.
That's all you need. That's all you need. My band played a festival called Love Trails, which is like a running and music festival. And I got asked to take a run. I did a couple of runs, but I got asked to take a run before my band played. And I was waiting there with my kit on, and I thought nobody had turned up. So I put dungarees on and a pair of Converse and just sat down. And then the organizer was like, mate, there's loads of people waiting to run with you. And I was waiting in the wrong place. So I took people for a 6-kilometer run on trails in dungarees and Converse, and I felt amazing.
Mate, so from that career then, and you've already mentioned it, sort of at 25, then you kind of went a different direction.
Yeah.
Why was that? Why was running up to that point the number one thing, and then from that point became not the number one thing, someone else did? What was kind of the progression up to that point? I
mean, putting myself in the moment in 2007 when I made that decision, it was purely based on searching for some kind of freedom. The whole thing, everything, my journey through sport had always been me trying to find the best way to be free and express myself. So it was hard to express yourself as a skinny kid on the wing playing rugby in the rain in the Rhondda Valleys. You couldn't do it. And then so I tried football, and I found I could express myself a bit more in the midfield in football. I could do a bit more. And then it just became running. Like, running was the perfect way to express myself. I could train on my own. I could run my own races, how I wanted to do it. And then after the World Championships, that kind of got taken away. It became a lot more serious, and rightly so, because I was a lottery funded athlete. I had to prove that I was progressing, but it just became a lot more serious for me, and all this freedom had been taken away. And I just thought my favorite things about being an athlete were going abroad and racing, going to places like Milan and racing, going to like Lithuania and racing. I loved that. And I just thought, how can I do that without the running? And it was like, just join a band and go on tour. And in my head, that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to chase another type of freedom and self-expression. And yeah, I just decided to be in a band.
When you did that, what were the people around you like? What were they saying? What was their kind of reaction to the whole thing?
Initially, it was kind of, oh, why didn't you try rugby again? Like, if you felt
Of course it was. That's the South Walian mentality.
Honestly, I've done a Google search, and you'd be one of the fastest rugby players in the world. Yeah, but like, I can't catch the ball and I can't tackle. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems here.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So I tried that again, and I just, I could not believe how long training sessions were in rugby. They're like 5 hours long. You go down a track for an hour and you're done with athletics. So I was like, it's too much hanging around. Everybody, and then as soon as I said I wanted to do music, like, everybody who mattered, so my family, they were cool with it. There were definitely coaches and other runners who were like, just couldn't get their heads around it. But yeah, the people who mattered were absolutely fine with it.
And that portion of your life then, just talk us through that. I mean, it was a big portion of your life, but how did the transition from running to music go?
Initially, it went really well because I just took the hard work ethic I had from running and I put it to songwriting, learned to play guitar. I was like a real grafter at the start, and I really worked hard at it. And I had that same mentality, like, if I want to do this, well, I have to work hard at it. And then kind of, that was all good at the start. And then things like drinking a lot more than ever came in. And then aging happened. Like I started aging, I started getting older, and then I had this thing where it was like, I think I've messed up, you know, like it was 2012, so London Olympics are on. I was 30, and I'd been told that when I was 30 I would be at my peak. Like you do all sorts of testing in the lab, and they're like, when you're 29, 30 you will be at your peak as a runner. And I was predicted to run like a 1:43.800. So the Olympics are on, and I was like, oh man, like,
yeah.
And I was in Croatia doing a festival, and I was drunk, and it was like the beginning of, I've made a mistake here. And it went from being this really freeing experience of like writing music and touring and doing what I really love, to suddenly thinking, I think I've made the wrong decision, which is really scary. It's kind of easier to accept a decision someone has made for you, so you can be angry with them, but it's something when it's your own choice and you're angry with yourself. It's not good.
How did you deal with that then?
I just went super self-destructive for a bit. And then, I don't know, like people told me, oh, you know, you're drinking a bit much, you're being a bit crazy, you need to sort your head out a bit. And it all happened when, the whole recovery thing happened when I saw a video of myself racing from 2006 at the World Championships, and I'd never seen the race. So this was like 2018, and someone sent me a link to the final. So I watched it, and it was the first time I watched the race. And this really weird thing happened where I watched it, and I felt really proud of what I'd done for the first time. And I was kind of like, do you know what? Nah, that's a bit embarrassing. I've over-exaggerated for 6 years of my life. That's actually like, I should be proud of that. And this whole change in mindset just happened overnight, honestly, where I was like proud of what I'd done, and I wanted to go back to the person I saw in that race, and I knew I could do it because the way I felt watching it, I knew that version of myself was still there. So all of a sudden it was like no longer about, I need to lose weight, I need to go to Turkey for a hair transplant, I need to stop eating kebabs. It was just like, no, I just need to go back to this other version of myself, and it became easy.
I quite like with your story that you kind of have these, it's like part number one and then part number two, and then at one point kind of both parts come together.
Yeah,
it's quite cool. And that's kind of where you're at now, where you kind of combine both loves. That process, I can imagine, wasn't smooth, like getting back to some form of previous Jimmy and then mixing in now, like today Jimmy. Like how did you from that moment kind of move on with the journey, I guess?
Well, like how did the things come together?
Yeah, how did everything start coming together?
It was kind of like not overthinking things was a big one. And you know, I could easily look around as like a 37-year-old and think, oh, what are the 37-year-olds doing to make themselves happy? Oh, I could buy a bike rack for my estate, and I could travel around Wales and cycle up bike tracks. But no, that's not me. And I just kind of stopped overthinking. It's like, I don't want to cook meals like Jamie Oliver in the house. I don't want to watch Saturday Kitchen. I just want to feel young again, and I want to do everything I did that just made me feel young. So I no judgment, like not worrying what other people are thinking. I'm just going to start running like I did when I was 17, 18, 19, which was headphones on, being noisy, being a bit of a nuisance. Obviously, like I've toned it down a bit because, you know, I got kids and I might run past a teacher and you know, there's things like that. But yeah, it all came about not overthinking and really kind of trusting this voice in the back of your head, which as you get older is really hard to ignore, kind of this creative voice, and maybe a bit of your subconsciousness telling you like you need to do this. And I just really just listened to it, and every crazy idea that came my way, I was like, let's do it, you know, let's just do it.
It's cool, isn't it? Because when you read and you see those things that when you're a kid you'll just run because you're not thinking about anything else. You're just running about like an idiot because that's what you want to do. You just want to run around and it's fun. And then as like responsibilities and life happens, then everything kind of gets a little bit muddled. And when you just go back to just kind of going for a run and enjoying going for a run, and like you do, listening to tunes and just having a laugh with it.
Yeah.
it kind of changes things again.
Yeah, it's kind of like running for older people. It's not. It doesn't feel like running. I don't know. There's something about it. It's kind of like, it's become like the new golf. I keep thinking it's like golf. So like in my head,
Just
Strava.
a lot less expensive.
A lot less. Well, a lot less expensive. But it's kind of like Strava cuts up the town you live in into golf courses, right? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you're the legend in this bit. This is a segment. In my head, it's like, it's turning running into golf. And then you got people talking about, you know, you go down the golf course, it's like, oh yeah, this is my new driver. It costs me like $1,000. Runners like, he's my new trainer. I had to take out a loan to get them. And it's just, I think it's just part of like the corporate world creeping into things that people love and trying to make money out of it. So I just thought back to how I used to run. And I just think like, you know, I ran in the final of the World Championships, and all my training, I didn't have a GPS watch. I had like a little Casio. And then at the end of the day, when I'm on a track racing the Kenyan record holder, the Olympic champion, I'm in a pair of spikes, which essentially meant I was running barefoot. You know, so in my head, I was like, I got to the top of the sport, pretty much running barefoot and with a Casio watch. So why the hell am I Googling what's the best trainers to run up a hill? Why the hell am I watching, you know, people do shoe reviews on YouTube? I just need to just strip it all back and do it as I used to. So,
although I would have absolutely loved if you were turned up to the World Champ final without any spikes and with a Casio watch.
Yes. Do you know what? I ran,
class.
I ran in the final of the World Champs with girls' socks on. That's a true. Yeah, it's a true story. I was kind of, so as you expect, I was so kind of nervous and distracted by the fact I was racing in the final that when I got to the stadium, I opened my kit bag and I didn't have my normal socks in there. I had to pay my sister's socks, little pop socks, and I had to put them on. And I put them on in the cold room. So you're all sitting there before the final, and everyone's kind of giving each other the eye, like being dead serious. And I'm pulling a pair of flowery socks out of my kit bag.
Oh, that's so good.
I know.
That's so good, mate. The trainer thing's interesting as well. Like, so I did Manchester Marathon in April or whatever, and I remember just being in the start, and I was just looking down, and you just look down at like everyone's shoes like you do, and you're like, Vaporfly, Vaporfly. And I, like, just around me, I was like, there's about $8,000 of shoes that I can see. It's wild, isn't it?
I know. Have you tried them yet? Have you tried them?
I've worn a pair once for about 500 meters, and they did feel weird to me, but I've just never worn them before. So, but like, some people swear by them, right? Yeah,
I've never tried them. I've set myself a target of running, like, I was like, I'll get a pair if I can run a 15-minute 5K. That's what I'll do. I haven't run a 15-minute 5K, so I still haven't bought a pair. But
mate, get a pair and then you will. That's I think that's the point.
I know, but it's kind of
jet propelled.
I don't know. I'd feel so weird about running that much faster because of my shoes. You know, say you bought a pen and it started writing the best lyrics. I'd feel a bit like, oh, is it the pen or me? The sun. So
I don't know. It depends who else knows about the pen, I guess.
That's true. Sounds like a Harry Potter book or something.
Yeah, it does. It feels like a riddle, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mate, talk us through like Running Punks. How did that all start then? Running
Punks was Rodri's idea. So Rodri was a guy, I wasn't in school with him. He was in like a posh Welsh-speaking school. I was in the rough English-speaking school. And we were friends though, and we were in a band together when we were younger. And I started running, and I just started putting videos on Instagram, and Rodri got in touch with me maybe after like 3 months of it, so around about March. And he's like, oh mate, it's so good to see you running, you're looking happy, looking healthy, it's brilliant. And that was like a common thing, was people getting in touch saying I was looking happy. So I was like, what have I been looking like for the past 10 years? Do you know what I mean? What? And then we were both doing the same race. So we did a race, he did a marathon, I did a half. And we just kind of like saw each other as we were running, like a cheeky high five. And then we just started messaging, and he said, I've got this idea. There was a race I did. It was the Race for Victory 5K in Cardiff. And there was like a photo online, and everybody had their vests on. I just had a DZ Death Race t-shirt on, this Australian band. And he's like, oh man, I saw that t-shirt, and it really got me thinking, like, there must be more people out there who would rather run in band t-shirts than vests. So he's like, I'm going to send you an email. I kid you not, it took him 6 weeks to send his email. And I was like, send me this email then. I want to know. He's like, no, I'll explain it to you. And I had this email. It was massive. It was such a long email. I was reading it in work. And it wasn't called Running Punks, but he had this idea of getting musicians running and music lovers running and getting them to do it without being part of a normal club. And you know, it was really cool. And it's like this idea of there are other misfits out there who are missing out on running because it's not targeted for them. So I messaged him back. I said, Rod, this is amazing. I love this idea. It's cool. So we came up with the name Running Punks. And I thought, it's just going to be me and you. I thought it would just be me and you. We'd be like the big hairy bikers of running. We'd go to these places. The Running Punks are here. Look how rubbish they are. And yeah, it was kind of like that at the start. When it started, it was a few people were into it. Like mostly friends would buy some kit to support you. And then it was during lockdown when the running reviews went up, and then Lauren Laverne had us on Six Music, that it went to a different level. Then it was kind of people for the first time were seeing someone like myself, someone who looks sporty but is into really obscure music. So for a lot of people, it was the first time that they saw a sporty person who had something in common with them, you know?
Yeah.
And that's such a big gap to close, and it just makes people reach out to you. So I was running to like Dillinger Escape Plan or like some death metal, and death metal fans are going, I've always wanted to run and I've never seen anybody who's got something in common with me running. And it just kept on growing, and it was, amazing, really.
What I love about it is it just feels so inclusive. And even like the videos that you post on YouTube and stuff that if people haven't seen, have to go and have a look at. It's not just the freedom that like it makes you like, you can just see the freedom that you're experiencing when you're running to the tunes, but also like, it's nice that it's not like, you know, sometimes there's music that, like for me watching it, music I would have heard of, and sometimes I watch them not only to enjoy you running and the review, but to discover music, if that makes sense. It's quite a cool thing that for me, that's never, those things have never crossed before. Yeah.
And you know, when I had the idea to do the running reviews, I was walking back from a supermarket and I was like, that's quite a cool idea. And then I Googled it, thinking someone has done it. And I was really surprised. I thought no one has like reviewed music while running, when running and music go so well together. I was like, no one's done it. So I went out straight away and did one. I was like, I need to be first. I need to do it, because I think everybody in the world is thinking the same thing right now. And it's
like your eureka moment, mate.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I think eureka moments, you can tell it's a eureka moment when it's totally stupid. You know, it sounds totally stupid. That's really stupid, and it's going to be good. And the first video I edited, I watched it, and I can't put this on the internet.
It's so good.
It's so
good, man. I'll put the link in the description, so go and check it out. I'll ask this as my last question, mate.
Okay.
One song that you can only listen to for the rest of your life running.
Whoa!
What would it be?
Oh my God!
It's a big question, that, mate.
So what? Every time I run, I have to listen to
that's it, mate. That's it. You're on repeat.
I can't listen to another song.
Okay, I'll give you an album. And I will accept greatest hits.
No, let's do the one song. Let's do the one. Oh my God, that's real tricky. Man. That's really tricky. It's kind of, I'm gonna have to have a look at what's been on my Spotify recently, honestly.
Yeah, the worst thing with this is because I was thinking about this question and I was thinking, what would I do? And I have no idea. And it's like, you're gonna get. You need a song that you're not gonna burn, like, because you're gonna get that listen burn, aren't you? That you're like,
yeah. But I think I know what it is. And it depends how you want to live the rest of your life. You could have a really chilled song and live the rest of your life a really chilled person, or
you could go Soil and Halo.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go for King Kunta by Kendrick Lamar.
Oh mate, yeah, that is a cracking choice.
I think that's the one. I think that's the one because the whole structure of the song kind of like, you can confuse yourself. Like I run with it on loop, and I'm kind of like, am I on? What listen am I on now? Because kind of it's got those stops in there, like with the gunfire in and stuff. So it could suit just being on loop forever, that song. So,
well, there you go, then, mate. And that thankfully that never has to happen, because that would be awful.
Oh, really?
But,
I'm gonna do it.
On loop.
Massive thank you to Jimmy for coming on to Run Through TV. I think you'll agree, an absolute legend. If you enjoyed this video, please do stick it a thumbs up. Subscribe to Run Through TV as well. And any guests you'd like to see me talk to in the not too distant future, we're getting a load of people booked now, and I'm really excited for some of the conversations we're going to be having. Just drop their names in the comment section below, and let me know what your favourite part of this video was as well in the comment section. I hope to see you at an event very soon, and I'll catch you again here on Run Through TV in a bit as well.